Grace and peace to you. This is yours truly, Bishop Bowser, coming at you once again. I want to talk with you about this plea deal that Boosie made in regards to the gun charge that he caught here in San Diego. I'm in San Diego when Boosie first got arrested. I remember that, I think that was back in 2023. I remember when he got arrested, and I remember addressing that gun charge that he got. And then remember when he came back to go to court, they dropped the charges, and then the federal government picked up the charges. And one of the things that I shared with everyone during that time is that the federal government, when they pick up a charge from the state, right, especially when it's gun charges, they pick those charges up because they want to give you time, right? I do a lot of work in dealing with gun violence prevention, and work things like that. And we have a lot of individuals in our program that goes through our gun diversion program. And these are individuals that are arrested for misdemeanors, right? And many times it's their first time being arrested for a gun charge. Sometimes the gun is legal. They have the gun, it's legal, but they might have been transporting in it in an illegal way, or having it on them concealed when they shouldn't have it concealed because they didn't have a permit. And then of course there's people that actually had guns on them that was illegal. They shouldn't have had them, and so on. But it's a misdemeanor because it wasn't a felony. So they get charged with a misdemeanor. They go to court. The judge and the lawyer ask the judge to refer their case over to us, so we can go through the diversion program. Our diversion program is 12 to 18 months. Now think about that. These individuals have misdemeanors, right? And many of them, it's their first time being arrested, and many times it's their gun that they had legally. And they are required to go through our program for 12 to 18 months. But the good thing about the incentive is that they complete the program, the charges are dropped, right? And so we have a lot of people coming through our programs, and so we deal with a lot of gun charges, gun cases, and things like that. And I'm sharing this with you to share that one of the things that I did back when we first started our gun diversion program is I reached out to the federal government, the U.S. Attorney's Office. And one of the things I was asking them is that, hey, we want to try to work with you all with gun diversion, right? For those individuals that might be in gangs or different things like that, and they get arrested for a gun charge, rather than giving them time or them going to prison, things like that, send them through our program, right? So that we can help them change their behaviors, give them some life skills, give them the proper tools that they need so they can make change, and so that they can do better in life, right? And then afterwards, you don't have to completely drop the charges, but maybe reduce it or whatever. And they weren't willing to do it. The U.S. Attorney's Office wasn't willing to do it. They said anytime we pick up charges from the state, right, we pick those charges up because we want to give the individual time. Now, I'm saying that in regards to Boosie. I believe that when the federal government originally picked up that charge, they wanted to give him time. I know there has been a transition, a change of government, a change of the guard, right? From Biden, Biden was the president in 2023. Now Trump is the president in 2025. And so the U.S. attorney may be making a deal with Boosie because the Trump presidency, they don't believe that individuals should be kept from having a gun just because they have a felony. And I believe the same thing. Unless it's a violent felony, I don't think an individual that has a felony, once they've done their time and served to society, they should be allowed to purchase a gun and carry a gun. So that's kind of where I stand with that, and so on. And I believe that President Trump's presidency his administration believes the same thing, right? And so they may be making a deal with Boosie from the perspective of probably giving him probation, maybe put a ankle monitor on him and cut him some slack because it is a new administration and things may have changed. But then again, maybe their taxes are the same and they're like, hey, we want this brother to do some time. And so Boosie got to understand that, and maybe they already told him secretly, hey, you make this deal and this is what we're going to do for you, right? And so he may get off on probation because there has been a change of the guard. But he's asking for pardons. I don't think he should get a pardon, because what makes him so special versus all the other people that's out there that's been charged with gun charges, that's in a better situation than him and probably never been in trouble before, right? So a lot of times these guys think because they're celebrity, they're special and they should get a special privilege. They're so used to being treated different from everybody else to where that they think that they should get some kind of special privilege or what have you. I'm against that. I don't think she should get any special privilege, or whatever's done for others in that same situation. That's the same thing that should be done for Boosie in this situation, as far as making a deal with him and so on and so forth. The other thing that I wanted to address in regards to Boosie is that he asked everyone to pray for him. I don't know what religion he believes in and things like that. My faith tradition is I'm a disciple of Yahshua Messiah, which is Jesus Christ. And when you ask for prayer, there has to be something in your heart where you want God to move and do something for you, but at the same time you have to want to change, right? Back when I first got in church in '84, I was buried in trouble, right? Had felonies, a couple of felonies on my back. I had a couple of misdemeanors, and I was going to trial, and then I ended up making a deal. But in the midst of that, God got a hold of me, right? And so I knew that I wanted to turn my life over to the Lord. But I was going to wait till I did my time and got out, and then turn my life over to God. And so I ended up going to court. They ended up making a deal where one of my felonies was a wobbler. They turned that into a misdemeanor. Another one of the felonies they dismissed. I had about 6 misdemeanors for being under the influence of drugs. They dropped most of them, and I pleaded to 2. They dropped the possession of. I had possession of drugs and possession to sell. They dropped the possession to sell, and they just charged me with possession of drugs, but it was a wobbler, and they reduced that to a misdemeanor. Went before the judge, and they ended up giving me a year in county. They sentenced me to a year. So my thing was, I'm gonna go ahead and do this time and get out. But in the between time, my lawyer was. I had a paid lawyer, so it works good for me. She was working behind the scenes to get me in a drug rehab program. So they ended up pulling me out while I was doing my time. I think I was already like a couple of weeks into doing my time. They pulled me out, put me in a drug rehab program. I didn't like that program, so I left that program. And then I end up turning myself back in and everything. Say, I just want to do my time, give them a year so I can get out and turn my life over to the Lord. The judge ended up sentencing me to 6 months rather than a year, which was a blessing. And out of that 6 months, he gave me 6 months. I ended up doing I had a couple more warrants, so that added 60 more days onto my time. So all together, I ended up doing about 5.5 months, right? And I ended up, when I finally got out, about a week and a half later, I did turn my life over to the Lord, right? And so most of the time when people are asking for prayer, it's kind of like a byword, and they really don't know what they're saying when they say, hey, pray for me. But my thing is, if you really want prayer, if you really want God to do something, then you have to have a change of heart, because man look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. You know how people will say, hey, pray to God heal me of my diabetes, and then what I say to them, why would God heal you of the diabetes when you haven't changed your behavior? You're gonna go right back and get diabetes again, right? So something has to change. So if you want prayer, in this situation, what has changed, right? Because that's what God is looking at. But I will pray for you, Boosie, that God will save you, right? And that God will pull you out of the mess that you're in this corrupt hip-hop culture and so on. That's what I pray for you for, so that you can be with your family, your loved ones, and things like that. But stop asking for prayer from the perspective of just wanting to get off the hook and then continue on with your negative, criminal, evil, and irresponsible behavior, right? And so that's my take on it. I just wanted to share that with you, because many times in two instances, right? He might get off because you do have a new administration, federal administration, and then number 2, he's asking for prayer. But bro, like you got to think about it, especially come to San Diego. And let me just say this in our close, when you come to San Diego, they have a high rate of solving crimes, so you got to be careful when you come here, because you will get arrested. They have a high-tech surveillance team and surveillance everywhere. You just can't get away, and they will solve most of the crimes. So Don't come to San Diego trying to do that, because they most definitely will get you. All right. God bless you. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Bowser Report, and leave a comment. All right. God bless you.